Hi, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about boundaries and the misconception, which is very common, that I'm going to set a boundary with this person and I'm going to feel so empowered. I'm going to feel so amazing. And actually, what I found is the opposite is true. We end up feeling worse and really uncomfortable. And which brings me to the point that a lot of us who are people pleasers, who have been taught basically as women to survive by putting a smile on our face, doing what's easiest, not rocking the boat. What that's taught us is to play it safe because we want to survive. And that's in the two-strand DNA system. As we step into the 12-strand DNA system, which holds our highest human potential, we start to realize that there's something for us on the other side of the discomfort. So, my favorite example is, let's say that you've decided to eliminate dairy from your diet. Maybe it was only a week ago and you didn't fill everybody in on that choice. So you show up at a family member's dinner and they've made your favorite cheese dish. So automatically those chemicals start firing because you want so much to hold the boundary. And so you start to say, oh, maybe I'll just start again next week because I don't want to upset this person. But my suggestion is to try from a softer place, honoring what you set for yourself as a form of self-respect. So over making the other person, uh, I like to say, choose self over being chosen. And you can do this simply by saying to that person, oh my gosh, I appreciate how much thought and time you put into making something that I used to love, but I'm going to pass tonight as I've decided to eliminate dairy from my diet. That's it. No over explaining. Because I think as people pleasers, and we've been taught that setting a boundary, a lot of times we drain ourselves trying to convince people that we're doing the right thing, right? Because underneath that, we feel uncomfortable. So instead of over explaining, it's just this has been my choice. And thank you, though, for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. Then what's going to most likely happen if you are a people pleaser and you're trying to survive and fit in, your nervous system is going to fire all the cortisol and you're going to start to feel like you did something wrong because your nervous system isn't used to it. And so what feels like, oh my gosh, this feels so bad, I must have done something that's not right, it's actually a signal that you have done something right. It's new and you're reprogramming yourself. And I like to get into the energy and the frequency here because you're reprogramming your frequency, the field around you to broadcast invisibly what you will and will not tolerate. And after practice, trust me on this, it just starts to happen. Those people that get upset, they start to kind of slowly fade away, or the reactions aren't as strong because you're holding the field. So, what I'd like to do is just do a collective clearing on this for any kind of boundary you may be really wanting to hold and step into feminine empowerment. It could be you want to speak up about something at work. It could be a relationship needs a little tweak. You maybe don't want to tolerate a behavior anymore that you've tolerated 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's never too late. A lot of times, what will happen is the other person is going to be triggered, highly upset, reactive, because they're dealing with the change also, and it makes them look at themselves. So there's a lot of uncomfortable feelings going on, but you, as the boundary setter, as setting self-respect, again, I feel that when you rise and you hold a boundary, everybody rises because it inspires and encourages the other person to look at themselves when those feelings come up. Not always will they change, and it doesn't matter because it's not about them, it's about you being able to hold that boundary, right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap into the collective consciousness right now around women, especially acting out of survival and wanting safety. Um, and being able to hold safety with these codes that I'm going to bring in as you set a boundary so that you can create something outside of your programming, outside of the distorted reality that we've all been programmed to tolerate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to place your hands on your heart, and we're going to bring in the white blue light, and we're going to breathe that in, trace it along the brain, down the spine, and back up and out through the mouth. I'm going to do it with you. Here we go. First thing I'm immediately tapping into is wanting to stay safe. So doing what's easiest to stay safe, not wanting to be uncomfortable, because being uncomfortable does mean a change. So let's bring in the loo and let's clear staying small. Let's bring this into our pineal gland, seeing it spin counterclockwise and clockwise, deleting all distortion, all program beliefs that we believe have kept us safe, or they may have kept us safe, but now we're ready to step into empowerment, clearing guilt, fear of being seen, not feeling worthy of respect, not wanting to rock the boat, being afraid of being shamed, feeling that you're going to be abandoned if you have self-respect. That's a big one. Feeling like you might be making a mistake. It's too much what you're asking for. And then we're going to bring in the ska, which holds the 7 states of consciousness. This brings your cells into a higher frequency, a higher vibration, so you can hold that boundary and know that you're safe, even if your physical body is reacting. And then finally, the ska. This, again, is upgrading your cell to be an expression of a higher frequency thought. So when that body goes into fight or flight, know that your cell is holding this, just placing your consciousness. And I am free to be me. And I am protected. I am free to be me. It is safe to be me. I am protected. I can really feel that. And so now we know that your cell is holding this. So just placing your consciousness there every time you have a doubt. It takes about 21 days to reprogram a cell. But just that's what you go back to. Instead of the old program, go back to I am free, I am safe. And then I'm going to choose 3 DMT codes with the intention of holding safety in the boundary that you may set or need to set in your life or want to set. So the first code that I'm pulling is the 1. which is perfect. New beginnings, leadership, being the way shower. Maybe you're the first in an entire generation of women to set a boundary. So let's bring this into the pineal gland. The second code that I drew is the 3. You're in creation of something new, the divine design, creating a new life of self-respect, one boundary at a time. Seeing the spin, feeling the spin in your pineal gland. I'm transmitting it to you also. Feels really good. And then finally, the third code to help you hold the safety in the unknown and the uncomfortableness in the boundary is the 8, abundance. And I'd like to correlate this to an abundance of self-respect for this reading, with grace and ease and flow as you step into greater empowerment, self-safety, not needing anybody to tell you if your boundary is okay. Your boundary is okay. So I'm going to hold up all 3 codes and know that energetically your cells are now vibrating at this frequency of the 1, the 3, and the 8. Safety in boundary. If you feel called, I do work with women one-on-one. I have a link below that I always post. Feel free to click on that, explore, read about me. And if it resonates, I would be honored to help you navigate empowerment and boundary setting. Until our next time, thank you for listening.